Hey guys, so somebody left me a comment asking about manifesting away loneliness, and I would have no opinion on this except for that I had a really weird experience with this during the period of time after the sort of spiritual awakening that I had at the end of 2019. Interestingly, as a side note, so what's happened to me twice now is I had these little weird experiences, these sort of mystical experiences where I was in, for lack of a better way of putting it, in a closer, I just became aware of God in a real way. And had some things revealed to me, sort of an instantaneous download. And what resulted from both of these was this period of time afterwards where, because I had been so close, I had this experience of God. It's like all fear and all mundane concerns they were so minimized by this direct experience that it took me a while both times to get back, in a good way, to get back to sort of being human and just like living my human life. And this last time, I was in this period of I think it was about 6 weeks where I had no fear about anything, and I was in touch with my own completeness and that there was no need for me to change anything. And it's just it was just this weird, blissfully empty period of time where none of my old concerns applied at all. And then as that sort of started to wear off a little bit, it was very noticeable. All of a sudden I'd be feeling sort of an old bad feeling from before. And then it was really easy this time for me to notice where it was coming from, because since I don't have a lot of problems in my life, I've manifested this whole wonderful life over the last 20 years. I was in sort of this position to not really have a lot of problems that were just going to start coming right up. And so it became more obvious when personal, it was things about me, thoughts about myself were returning. And so I would notice this thing happened today and I've been feeling this certain way since then. And so I know they're connected because nothing else happened. And I can't figure out how me having this emotion right now is tied to this event that normally I would have said, I wouldn't have even noticed it as an event that was causing any kind of bad emotion. It was really weird. And so I sort of had some deeper insights in that time through trying to figure these puzzles out. Why am I feeling this way from this incident? And it was really illuminating to me how everyday incidents would produce this subtle feeling of being deficient for me. I had these very subtle negative feelings about myself, or negative feelings about the prospect of something or something like that. Just very subtle things that you wouldn't even notice if you had any kind of major problem going on in your life. These things wouldn't even register, but they're there and they're creating your experience. And one thing that I noticed very distinctly one night was that I was feeling very lonely, and this experience of being connected with God it's like the least lonely feeling in the world. It's like being connected to everything and everyone. It's like not only not being alone, but being literally connected to everything. It's just the least lonely feeling in the world. So when I started feeling that this one night, I did this. I'm like, well, why am I feeling lonely right now? This is really weird. And then I connected it to an incident earlier in the day, and I realized that for me, loneliness it's entirely about feeling bad about myself, and this connection would never have been made otherwise. I was having this lonely feeling. I thought about this incident that had happened earlier in the day. I went through it. It took me about 2 hours of just kind of allowing it, recognizing that this is causing this loneliness. I don't know what it is. Just sort of not obsessively thinking about it, but I just sort of kept my mind on it. And I eventually came up with it. This thing happened. It made me fearful of dropping the ball in this situation, at which point I would then disappoint and let down this person. And, it just kind of started this cascade of very subtle emotions about my own worthiness, my own ability to handle this situation, and the possibility of letting somebody else down due to my own deficiency. I mean, is it realistic to do this shit all day, every day? I don't know. I'm certainly not sitting around with this all the time now, but I made this connection back then. And as soon as I figured it out, and I was just like, no, I actually think I had a conversation with that person and told them about it, and it just sort of resolved itself. I realized everything was okay. I wasn't doing anything wrong. There wasn't anything wrong with me. And this sense of loneliness just vanished. And that little experience further solidified my base premise for this whole channel, basically, which is that it's all you. It all comes back to you. And really, the only place you should spend your time and effort is on yourself and correcting all of the flawed views you have about yourself and yourself in relation to everything else. Because, you know, these feelings produce, at least for me, all kinds of different experiences that, you know, you feel lonely. I felt lonely that night. I easily could have interpreted that in a million different ways. I don't have enough people in my life, even though I did. That's the thing. I had people I could talk to, I could call. That didn't seem to fix it. You know, I could have taken that to be sort of a regretful thing, that maybe I didn't like make a bigger circle of friends at some point, or so, you know what I mean? When really it had nothing to do with any of that. It only had to do with me having certain feelings about myself that blocked this connection to everything, where you can never feel lonely. So is that a realistic thing for somebody who is experiencing loneliness now to do? I don't know. But recognizing, or at least entertaining the possibility that it actually doesn't have anything to do with you not having connections to other people, and it having to do with how you feel about yourself, could produce an insight for you that will solve the problem. I've also noticed that in the past, the more I've felt bad about myself, the less I'm able to connect with other people. When I'm at the point, and for me it's almost always been about weight and appearance and things like that. That's been a big one for me. When I've been at higher weights, and I've noticed, because I've recently, last year I gained like 25 pounds when my dad died. I've noticed that as I gain weight, it's just like I become more, I don't look people in the eye as much. I don't engage people in public that I don't know very often. Whereas, you know, when I'm in like sort of my ideal physical state and I'm feeling really good about myself and all that shit, you know, I'm just sort of in this state where I automatically attract conversations with people. I don't really know how to put it. Like, I'll just have, everywhere I go, there'll be somebody and there'll be a conversation that's like upbeat and positive and feels really good, and just kind of like, you know, I've noticed that dies way down, even with just a little bit of weight gain. And when I was really heavy and feeling really bad, I remember going to my ex's sister-in-law, my ex's sister invited me to a poker. She had a big poker thing at her house, a whole bunch of people. And I didn't know anybody, and which doesn't usually really bother me. It doesn't really bother me to go somewhere where I don't know anybody. But I went there, I played poker with all these people. They were, you know, it was a lot of fun. Everybody's drinking. It was a good time. And when I got home that night, I said to my ex, yeah, it's so weird. I just didn't feel like I could connect to or relate to any of them. I just felt like this. I felt like I was there, but not a part of any of it. Like, it didn't feel good. It wasn't fun. It was just weird. I just couldn't connect to anybody. And so for myself, that's my observation. Since this is my channel, all I can really do is share with you my experience relating to whatever questions get asked. You know, that's been my experience with that. The worse I feel about myself, the less in my mind I match up to my ideal. You know, the more disconnected I feel from my ideal, the less I feel able to connect to others. And when I'm in the state of being exactly what I want, connection is just automatic. It just happens. When I feel good about who I am and myself and all of that, you know, there's no such thing as loneliness, because you just connect everywhere you go. There's just this constant energy exchange that's positive for me. So that's just been my observation. And I've even noticed it with just a little bit of weight gain. Like, I've noticed that tamping down, I think I'm misusing that word. Just from, I don't feel bad about how I look right now. I'm there, but I've noticed that it's not because I'm not at my ideal in my mind. It's still a little bit off. So anyway, I hope that helps somebody. I know that's probably not the answer that you were expecting about how to just manifest some friends. I mean, you can always manifest friends. Just imagine yourself, in a situation where you're sitting with your friends and you're feeling that environment, and just imagine it. And, that's how you manifest things, is put yourself there and know that it's going to happen. Just get that, develop, conjure up, generate that sense of certainty, that feeling of certainty. If you don't know how to do that, you got to try to learn and practice feeling sure that something's going to happen. Start with something small. Decide that you're going to go do something today, and that you can do, that you can do, and feel that feeling that you have when you know you're going to go do something. That's the feeling you want to generate about the thing you want to get. So manifesting friends is not that hard, but it's not necessarily going to cure you of that loneliness that is really truly only cured by being really connected to like everything, and having dropped this consciousness of yourself, or where maybe you're failing, or having these feelings like you're not good enough. For me, it's been really obvious since that incident. During that period of time when I had a sort of awakening, it's been really clear to me what the source of feeling alone is, which I think a lot of people construe as loneliness. To me, wanting to be around a bunch of people is not necessarily the cure for, that's not the cure for that feeling for me. So anyway, I hope that helps somebody and made sense. Have a great day.